Yes, welcome everyone to our today's lesson. I'm going to teach a topic, a strand in grade 5 social studies, that is people and population. So that's our strand for the day, people and population. So the sub-strand, we are going to look at, the first sub-strand, we're going to look at the language group, language groups in Kenya. Now, to start with, I want to take it from where we left it in grade 4, where we are talking about people in our county. So we looked at different counties. That is what we did in grade 4, whereby we talk about different counties and the people in those different counties. Now for this grade, that's the grade 5, we are now talking about the people of Kenya. So first of all, we need to understand the meaning of language group. The meaning of language group. So first of all, we must understand what is the language, what is the meaning of language group. So language group simply refers to the group of people who speak a similar language. That's the meaning of the language group. So a language group simply means the group of people who speaks a similar language. So in Kenya, we have 5 main language groups. We have 5 main language groups that we have in Kenya. So from after understanding what the language group are, then from this language group now we are going to get the communities which makes up those language groups. So the language groups we have in Kenya, the main ones are 5. So A, we have the Bantu. B, we have the Nilote. C, we have the Kushites. 4, we have the Asian. Then the last one, we have the Europe. So these ones are the main language groups that we have in Kenya. Now, these language groups, they are comprises of different communities which makes up the language group. For example, now, once we have known the language groups that we have in Kenya, now we can start by looking at each language group. Then from there, we are going to look at the communities that makes up that language group in the country. So we can now go to the Bantu as a language group. So Bantu, what do we need to know about the Bantu in this way? First of all, we must talk about their origin. So origin simply means where they came from, or where they migrated from before they came to Kenya. So these people migrated from the Congo Forest region in Central Africa. 2, we also need to talk about their economic activity. So the economic activity of the Bantu is that they were cultivators. Then secondly, we must also be able to talk about the communities that makes up the Bantu language group in Kenya. So from there, we can have the Bantu here. So once we have the Bantu, then now we can look at the community that makes up the Bantus in Kenya, because there are not only one community, but there are several communities that makes up that Bantu in Kenya. So these communities, 1, we have what we call the Western Bantu. B, we have the Eastern Bantu. Then lastly, we have another group called the Coastal Bantu. So those are the communities that makes up the language group Bantu in Kenya. Now, having looked at that, the language group that makes up the Bantu, then now we can discuss each language group, each community. Then from there we come up. Then we come up with the different groups that fall in this which falls under each group. For example, when you talk about Western Bantus, so the learners should be in a position of knowing which group falls under the Western Bantus. And this one, we have to know, first of all, where do they live currently? If you want to see the Western Bantu, where can you find them? And which community makes up the Western Bantu? So for the learners, what they need to know is that the Western Bantus, these ones, they are found in the counties like the Kakamega County, Bungoma. We also found them in Busia. We have them in Vihiga. We also have them in Kisii, Nyamira, and Migori, and even some part of Homa Bay, because there we also have the group of Western Bantu called the Abasuba, which are who have also found are found in in Homa Bay County. So this group now include the following. One, this now where we have the Abaluya, we have the Abagusi, we have the Abasuba, then we have Abakuria. So the learner should be able to see how their names, the pronunciation of their names, all of them, the names start with Aba. For example, we have the Abaloya, Abagusi, Abasuba, Abakuria. All these, they belong, they are the groups that makes up the Western Bantus. So in their migration, these people migrate from Uganda, then they entered Kenya, along through Mount Elgon, then they disperse to different areas where they are found. So when you talk about the Baluya as the part that makes up the Western Bantus, now these ones here, they are found in Kakamega, they are in Bungoma, they are in Vihiga, they are in Busia. Yes, so these are the counties where the majority of the Western Bantus are found, and then some of them are also found in Trans Nzoia. Those are now a Baluya community. And under the Baluya, we have several the sub-tribes of Baluya. This is now where we can we have those different ones like Bukusu, we have Bunyore, we have the all those tribes that makes up the Luya as a community. Then now we have the Abagusi. The Abagusi, they are part of Western Bantus, and they are currently, if you want to get the Abagusi, they are in two counties, that is the Kisii County, and then you can also find them in Nyamira counties. Although there are some living in Migori. So the main counties where the Abagusi people are found, they are in Kisii and Nyamira, but some few are also living in Migori County. So the same Abagusi are also the sub-tribes of the Western Bantus, or they make up the Western Bantu together with the Abaluya. The next one we have the Abasuba. Abasuba are part of the Western Bantus, and these people, although currently most of them have been assimilated into Luos, but still they the fact remains they are still Bantus, even if they have been assimilated as the Luos. So currently they are living in Homa Bay County, that is in Suba North and Suba South. Then they are also found in Migori. So these people here, the Abasuba, they are also part of the Western Bantus, but they are currently They are living in Homa Bay County, and then we have the Migori County. The next group of Western Bantu is Abakuria. The Abakuria. So Abakuria are also part of the Western Bantu, and currently the Abakuria people, they live in Migori County, and I think part of Kisii. But their main county is Migori. They are living there in Migori. That the sub-counties of Kuria East and West. That's where we found the Abakuria people. Now, that is all about the Western Bantu. We have looked at their economic activity, and the economic activity is general to all the Bantus. So if we said all the Bantus are cultivators of crops, that is general to all of them. So the groups I've talked about, that is the Western Bantus. We have said this group, for the learner to be able to remember them, their names always start with Aba, Abaloya, Abakuria, Abagusi. That is how the learner can be able to identify their names. Next, now we can look at another group of Bantu, and that is Eastern Bantu. Eastern Bantu. So the Eastern Bantu, they occupy, if you want, the counties of, for example, right now, if you want to get an Eastern Bantu, then they are in Kiambu. We have Kitui. We have Nyeri. They are also in Nairobi. Then we have Machakos, among others. So there are several areas where these the Eastern Bantus are. We have the Meru County. We have Embu. Yes, so currently this is where we can find the Eastern Bantus. Now, these Eastern Bantus are the groups that makes up the Eastern Bantus. Just like the Western Bantus, we have said, we refer their names start with Aba. This ones here, their names start with A. For example, Agikuyu. We have Aembu, Ameru. Then we have Ambere. Yes, so these ones are called Eastern Bantus. So this is the group where we have, and they are the majority. So we have the Gikuyu, we have the Embu, we have the Meru, we have the Kisii, we have the Ambere, and then we have the Akamba. So they make up what we call the group called the Eastern Bantu. So they are found in these counties, the counties of Kiambu, Kitui, Nyeri, Nairobi, Machakos, Meru, Embu. We can also find them in Nyandarua, Tharaka, Nithi, and all those counties there. So we find the Eastern Bantus. Then the last group of Bantus in Kenya as the Coastal Bantu. But the Coastal Bantu, the Coastal Bantus are just like the Eastern Bantu, but we refer them as Coastal Bantu maybe because of the, where they live. So this group we only have, for example, in the Coastal Bantu, we have Pokomo, we have Taita, we have Taveta, then we have Mijikenda. So these ones are Coastal Bantus. And they are Coastal Bantus because these people live in the coastal region of Kenya. So there, and also we have the Waswahili. We have the Waswahili. So these are the, the Coastal Bantu in Kenya. So when we talk about, we have the Pokomo, we have the Taita, Taveta, Mijikenda, and then we have the Swahili. These ones makes up what we call the coastal Bantu. So where are they found? These people live in Mombasa County. We also find them in Kilifi. They are in Kwale, Tana River, Lamu, and so these are the counties where we can find the coastal Bantus, and then they are also in Taita Taveta County. So those are all about the Bantus in Kenya. So I've looked at the the language group Bantu, and we have said the language group Bantu in Kenya, they are made up of the Eastern Bantus, the Western Bantus, and then we have the coastal Bantu. So the next language group in Kenya, apart from Bantu, we have the second largest are now the Nilotes. So when we start looking at the Nilote, we start by describing the economic activity of the Nilotes. We also look at their origin. For example, the Nilotes are believed to must have originated from South Sudan at a place called Bahr el Ghazal. Then their main economic activity is pastoralism, even though some, like Luos, they are said they are fishmongers, but the main economic activity of all the Bantu is pastoralism. Now, so then we have the communities that makes up the Nilotes in Kenya. Just like Bantus, we said that the Bantus are made up of several the sub language groups. The Bantus, the Nilotes are also made up of. All right. So the language group that makes up the community that make up the Nilotes in Kenya, we have the largest one are what we call the Highland Nilotes. Highland Nilotes. Then we have Plain Nilotes. Then we have River Lake Nilotes. So those are the Nilotes that we have in Kenya. So when we talk about, for example, we take the Highland Nilotes. Highland Nilotes. So which community makes up the Highland Nilotes? So in short, the Highland Nilotes, these are the communities that we refer as the Kalenjins. The Kalenjins. So they belong to a group called Highland Nilotes. But you see, there are several communities that makes up this Kalenjin as the Highland Nilotes. So here is where we have the Kipsigis. We have the Nandi. We have Marakwet. We have Sabaot. So we have the Kipsigis, Nandi, Marakwet, Sabaot. We also have Elgeyo, among others. So these people here makes up what they call the Highland Nilotes. So where are they found? These people live in the counties of Bomet, Kericho, Uasin Gishu. We have Nandi County, Baringo. There are also some living in Trans Nzoia, which is not part of Rift Valley. We also Elgeyo Marakwet. We have another county where they live is the county of Elgeyo Marakwet. Then we have the Bomet, Kericho, Nandi, and all that. So the Highland Nilotes as a group, they live in those counties in Kenya. But which group makes up the Highland Nilotes? I've said we have the Kipsigis, we have the Nandi, Marakwet, Sabaot, we have Elgeyo. We also have others like the Marakwet, the Turgen, the Pokot, and the Sabaot. So they make up what we call the Highland Nilotes. So in general, the Highland Nilotes are what we refer as the Kalenjin. That is in the larger classification, so we can group them under the Kalenjins, but they belong to this group: the Kipsigis, Nandi, the Marakwet, the Sabaot, Pokot, Elgeyo, and then we also have the Turgen and all that. So the learners should be able not to one, there are this Pokomo and Pokot. So the learner should not confuse Pokomo and Pokot. Pokomo are the Bantus. We call them the coastal Bantu, while the Pokot are the Nilotes, and we refer them as they are under Highland Nilotes. Then the next group of Nilotes are what we call the plain Nilotes. Plain Nilotes. So plain Nilotes in Kenya, this is the group where we have the Maasai, we have the Turkana, we have the Teso, we have Samburu, then we have these ones we call James, El Molo. Yeah, so these are the plain Nilotes in Kenya. So the group that makes up the plain Nilotes, we have the Maasai, we have the Turkana, we have the Teso, we have the Samburu, we have the El Molo. Yes, so these are the communities that we have that makes up the plain Nilotes. Now, where do we find the plain Nilotes currently in Kenya? So these people live in Narok County, Samburu County. They are also in Busia County. So the ones found in Busia County are the Teso. Then they are also found in Kericho County. I think El Molo and all these ones. So all these communities makes up what we call the plain Nilotes. So majority of them are pastoralists by nature, and that's their main economic activity. So the learners should be able to identify where does Maasai belongs to. They belongs to Nilote, but which group of Nilote? The learners should be able to say that the Maasai, as the Nilotes, they belong to a plain Nilotes, and these are the community that makes up the plain Nilotes in Kenya. The last group of Nilotes are these ones called the River Lake Nilote. The River Lake Nilotes. So the River Lake Nilotes in Kenya, we only have one community, that's the Luo, whereby we know the clans that makes up this Luo, where we have the Joka, Omolo, we have Joka, Jok, then we have Joka, Owin. Yes, so those are the sub-clans of the Luos people, and these are now the River Lake Nilotes in Kenya. So in other countries, we have other River Lake Nilotes. For example, we have them in South Sudan, we also have them in Uganda, and even in Tanzania, we have them. But in Kenya, the River Lake Nilotes we have are only Luos. So the next language group are the Kushites. Kushites. So the Kushites, their origin, they came from the Horn of Africa. The Horn of Africa is just Somalia. The economic activity, pastoralism. So the Kushites in Kenya are also divided into two groups. We have the Eastern Kushites. We have the Eastern Kushites. Then we have the Western Kushites. So the community that makes up the Kushites in Kenya, this is where we have the Dahalo, we have Oromo, we have Somali, we have Gabra, then we have Borana. So this group here makes up the Kushites in Kenya. So where do we find them? Currently, these people live in Mandera County, Wajir, Garissa, Tana River. We also find them in Isiolo, yeah, and some and also Marsabit County. Yes, so these are the counties where the Kushites are found in Kenya. Now, the last two groups of the language group, I'm just going to mention them. One, the last two, we have the Asians. Now, these people, we refer them as mostly they came to Kenya for different reasons. And these are now, most of them makes up what we call the early visitors to Kenya. So the Asians is where we have the Indians. We have the Japanese. And then Chinese. So these ones makes up what we call the Asians. Then the last group are the Europeans. So Europeans, now we have the German or Germany. We came from Germany, Britain, Italy, and also France and Spain. Now, why do we talk about the importance of these language groups in Kenya? So that one now brings us to what we call the interdependence of communities in Kenya. The interdependence of communities in Kenya. So there is a way these communities in Kenya depend on one another. And what are these interdependence? So interdependence refers to how different communities in Kenya depend on one another. So they can depend on one another for food. These ones now, the ones we call cultivators or the growers of crops, they provide food for the other communities. We have treatment. We also have education. Then we also have trade. So we find most of these communities in Kenya, they depend on one another. They depend on one another for different reasons. So those are the reasons why we are learning about these communities. We learn about these language groups. Then we look at how do they depend on one another. Then the last one, we are supposed to talk about the benefits of interdependence between communities. Take, for example, a community that the pastoralist community, they also need other services from other communities. So whichever they provide, they can exchange with another community who is doing a different economic activity, which is different from theirs. So one of the importance of interdependence among communities in Kenya is that it promotes love, unity. It promotes love, unity in Kenya, because we want our country to live whereby people live in peace with one another. So that interdependence leads to unity, and also it leads to love among the communities in Kenya. Two, it brings the development. For instance, we talked about the Europeans. when they came to the country, they brought a lot of changes, a lot of good things to the country. So there is they bring development, e.g. development of roads, we have which connects different places within the country. Then the interdependence also discourages what we call tribalism. We take, for example, in a school, we have different learners coming from different communities, but they learn in one institution. So doing so, we are trying to discourage what we call tribalism through education. Then it also encourages the exchange of culture, whereby different communities come together. Then there is borrowing of culture, like for example, in olden days, we realized the communities which, for example, the Bantu borrowed the act of circumcision from the Kusites, and then the Kusites also learn the act of cultivation of crops from them. So there is that exchange of culture, which is a good thing in the community. So after looking at that, the learners now are able to talk about the importance of the benefits of interdependence, and also be able to group different communities in Kenya in their main language groups. So up to there, we are ending our lessons there, and I wish you the best, and also have a wonderful weekend till we meet next. Thank you.